Hello, clever people, and welcome to my review for Wish Upon. So Wish Upon follows the story of a girl who finds a box, and this box can grant her 7 wishes. So throughout the course of the film, it's about her making each 7 wishes. However, the trick is each time she makes a wish, somebody close to her or somebody that's somewhat related to her dies. And because of that, she goes through a lot of awful things that would always dictate her life and the people around her. In case you can't tell by my lack of enthusiasm, I really did not like Wish Upon. I was not expecting a good movie at all, but what I came out with was something far more offensive, obscene, and atrocious than I ever expected. Wish Upon, other than Gods of Egypt, is the worst film to be released since The Last Airbender. And The Last Airbender is the worst film I've ever seen. Gods of Egypt is number 2 and this is number 3. I believe that this could possibly be on the Mount Rushmore of the worst films ever made. You have Gods of Egypt, Avatar: The Last Airbender, Fred the Movie, and now this. Wish Upon is honestly obscene and terrible. There is not a single redeeming quality in this entire movie. There is not one thing that you can point at and say, that is acceptable in any way. There is nothing like that in this entire movie. I mean, the acting is so unbelievably awful. It's so in your face about everything. Teenage actors have always been pretty weak, but they have never been this bad in a movie. I don't know any of the actors' name, but the main girl in it, she was in Going in Style. She was okay in that. In this, she was unacceptably awful. She was absolutely terrible. There's a scene where she's sitting down and she's like obsessed with the box or something, which comes out of nowhere, is literally in the movie because it's a cliche. And she's like crying and saying, oh, I don't want this box because it's ruining me, but I have 2 more wishes and I'm only going to make 2 more wishes. And honestly, it was some of the worst acting I've seen in a movie in an extremely long time. And the rest of the acting is not anywhere close to as acceptable. And this movie absolutely does not understand teenagers at all. It's abysmal and asinine and just insulting the way that they treat teenagers. The way that they show the social media or the fight, how there's a group of people having a fight, there's 2 people that are talking, and then the entire cafeteria becomes quiet before the fight even begins when they're just going to say something to each other. And also how the girl goes on Google and looks up something and it says no results in 0.81 seconds. That's not how Google works. You look up something and if there's no results, then just nothing comes up. And practically, she looks up something that's within reason. And when you look up nothing something that comes up with no results, it's usually just gibberish that you type into Google. And also, they have this Pokemon Go style game, and it's hilariously awful. It's so clear that they're ripping off Pokemon Go, and it becomes a big part of the script too. It's a big reason that a character goes through something. And the guy introduces it in the beginning, probably because he opened the screen book, and he's like, oh, it says in here that if I'm going to use something in the 3rd act to affect the characters, I can set it up in the 1st act. Okay, I'll just have a random 2-minute scene where she's just like, oh yeah, I'm going to catch this. And it's so awful. And the movie has the most cliches I have seen in a horror film in a long time. This movie is not original or unique in any way. It's every horror movie ever made, compiled into just a short runtime. 90 minutes, I think. It felt like 5 hours, but it was 90 minutes. It's insane to me. But in 90 minutes, they compiled every horror cliche. She even, like I said, she eventually becomes addicted to the box and can't be without it. And she does that because it's a cliche. There's no reason. Her character did not lead towards that. It's just in there because it's a cliche in horror history. And the use of music. Oh my god. The use of music in this movie is awful. It's so bad. they just use songs, these generic pop songs that literally no one listens to and they just used because it was probably a free license on it, are absolutely awful. They don't even affect the tone in any way. They have a super sad scene where a character she knows dies and they put on a pop song in the background. Sure, it's a melancholy pop song, but pop songs by definition are supposed to be upbeat. You could have put dramatic score music or a dramatic song there, but no, they decide to put a pop song there, and it's atrocious. And I love how one of the deaths happens, and it happens, and then like a week later, she discovers that the character had died. They literally just killed a character off because they needed to kill one of them, and then it came in later because it was convenient for the script. And speaking of convenient for the script, I love how characters just show up. They're just, oh, hey, I'm here because the script wanted me to, and I need to take you somewhere. Like, after a certain character dies because of the game, it's not a spoiler, you can see it coming. The one friend of hers, the Chinese friend, he comes, and he's just there. There's no reason for him being there. He just showed up to say, oh, hey, I need you to come this way because there's something awful about the box. And then they just go and destroy it, and they try to destroy it, and then she becomes obsessed. It makes no sense. The script is just so awful, and this movie, it tries so hard to be scary. It tries so hard to be intelligent and scary, and it never is. It's always just painful to watch. It thinks it's terrifying, but it's not in any way. All the deaths are so predictable, and they try to make it so that it seems like the characters aren't going to die. That it's like, oh look, she's gonna rip her hand in the garbage disposal, oh, but she didn't, oh, but her hair got caught and snapped her neck, wow, you didn't see that coming, look how original we are. And they even have a point in the movie where it's between two characters dying, and the other character there is there for literally no other reason than, hey, they could die or this character could die. Which one do you think it's gonna be? And it's obvious who it's going to be, because the other one, him dying, would absolutely make no sense. It would be a car falling under him. And that it wouldn't make any sense, so it's so predictable what happens. And the girl in this movie is probably the worst character in a film in an extremely long time, maybe of this decade. And that is a testament to how awful she is. She decides to make decisions that, oh, with this box, I'm not going to wish for world peace, or for the cure for cancer, or for, cure world hunger. No, I'm going to ask for myself to be the most popular kid at school. No one's going to question it. It's just like, oh yeah, look at her, she's so popular. I'm going to ask for this hot boy to be in love with me. Oh look, now he's in love with me. Oh, I'm going to ask for my dad to stop being so lame. Oh man, the scene where her dad stops being lame, her dad says probably the best line of the entire year. The greatest line ever. Because the dialogue in this movie is already amazing. But this one line in the movie, this one line where her friend is talking about her dad and says, wow, your dad, honestly, is sriracha sauce hot. Who says that? Who wrote that line and thought, this is a reasonable line. This is something that I can write down and it makes sense. It's unacceptable. I mean, the guy who directed this probably has learned nothing about movie. You just read this book. Read this book. It was right there. I just got it. Read this book. It's called Making Movies by Sidney Lumet. He talks about making films, and there is more artistic creativity and more filmmaking in this book than there was in the entire movie. I swear to God, it wouldn't surprise me if the director was a machine that just said, oh, let's create the most cliche movie possible. Taps, buttons. Look, we created a cliche garbage fest. Oh, this movie is awful. Oh, and it's got another one of the really hilariously awful scenes is when a character falls down the stairs, and I'm pretty sure that character is supposed to die. But they're basically just pushed, and they're like, oh, and they fall down like 15 stairs, and they're supposed to die because, I don't know, maybe they were knocked out, or maybe they died, I have no clue, but it's literally just like high school stairs, going from one level to the next. You don't die from falling down stairs like that. You fall down the stairs and you're hurt. if I had access to stairs like that, I would take this camera right now, I would go there, and I would fall down those stairs to prove that falling down like that would not kill you. And let's talk about the ending of this movie. I'm gonna get into spoilers. Who cares? Who cares about Wish Upon? Do not subject yourself to this movie. Just continue with the review, listen to the spoilers so that you don't need to see the movie. At the end of the movie, she wants everything to go back to normal. Already, I know, yeah, it's not going to stay normal. She's going to die or something. And that's exactly what happens. First, she gives the box to her Chinese friend and says, hey, can you bury it? Why can't you just go bury it? You have the box right here. Just dig a hole, put the box in the ground. Are you incapable of digging holes? Can you not put a shovel in the ground and pull it up and throw dirt? Is that impossible? Do you need to go get a Chinese man to do that and tell him about all this crazy stuff and then kiss him just so that he'll do it? It's asinine. Who wrote that? Why couldn't she just bury it herself? And then at the end of the movie, she's hit by a car from the popular girl that she wished would rot earlier. And it's hilarious what happens. She's hit by a car and she flies like 50 feet and her body turns into a mannequin. It's not even, they don't even try to hide it. She is clearly and obviously a mannequin that just flies 50 or 60 or like 70 feet. Just goes flying. It's stupid. It's moronic and insulting that a movie like this is made. And the message in the movie is so forced and then it's almost contradicted with the ending. It's still definitely there because the message of the movie is, it's the most cliche message in history. Be careful what you wish for. Enjoy what you have. It's... Obviously, I don't like this movie. If you like it, great. You enjoy a movie, but... honestly, I don't think Wish Upon is acceptable at all. Do you remember a time where horror movies were taken seriously? Where you got great films like The Shining, or a great film like, I haven't seen it but I hear it's great, Rosemary's Baby, or like Diabolique, the days of classic horror, or modern horror that was amazing. Those days are gone. You had It Comes at Night, which was absolutely amazing, which was honestly one of the best horror movies I've seen in a really long time, which it was absolutely incredible. And Get Out, which was made on a minimal budget and was the best film of the year, was creative and imaginative. I thought horror might be turning around, but it wasn't, because this movie, Wish Upon, proves to me that terrible horror movies will always be made. I'm getting preachy here, but honestly, we need to stop seeing these movies. We need to send a message to the filmmakers that these type of films are unacceptable, that we can't have them existing anymore. Honestly, Wish Upon is the most insulting thing I've seen all year. It's stupid. There's not even, I would say that it's crap, but that would be an insult to literal crap. It would be an insult to the thing that you use inside the toilet. It's... I'm upset. I'm angered that this movie exists. Please, guys, stop seeing these type of movies. I will give Wish Upon a 0.5 out of 10. Why is there another half point? I don't know. It's not as bad as Gods of Egypt, and it's not as bad as The Last Airbender, but God, this movie is some serious garbage. Well, anyway, that concludes my review for Wish Upon. What are your thoughts on this? You haven't seen it. Don't go see it. I know none of you saw it because it barely made any money opening weekend, which is a good sign. But still, it made money, which is insulting. But, I don't know. What's the worst film you've ever seen? What is it? Comment in the comment section below and let me know. I'm Robert Burke, and this has been my review for Wish Upon. Goodbye.